Welcome to the Bearded Banker podcast, the ultimate destination for insights into mortgage, money, and mindset. I'm your host, Daniel Valencia, and today we have a truly remarkable guest joining us, a powerhouse who's conquered both the marketing and real estate worlds.
You
Our
got
guest
that right,
today is
Danny.
none other than Heather Corrigan, a name synonymous with success. Heather's career reads like a thrilling novel of accomplishments and achievements. For over 2 decades, she served as the VP of sales for Go Gorilla Media, where she sold some of the coolest marketing products to clients all across the country. Her work brought her into collaboration with the biggest agencies nationwide, making her a true authority in the field. But that's only the beginning. Heather took her wealth of marketing knowledge and skill and channeled it into an incredible real estate journey. In just 6 short years, she built a highly successful real estate brand, earning her the moniker Heather the Hurricane
You
for
got
the
that
way
right,
she's been
Danny.
taking the real estate market by storm since 2017. Her shelf is loaded with accolades. She's been a recipient of Circle of Excellence awards, starting with bronze, advancing to silver, ultimately gold for 3 consecutive years. Not to mention named Bergen County's #1 rated Realtor on Rate My Agent 2 years running. Her list of honors extend to Hanani Award, Top Agent Award, Hustler Award, Conversion Award, Humanitarian Award, and an unwavering spot in the 100% Club at Remax year after year. Heather's secret sauce is the seamless blend of sales and marketing, a combination that she says is priceless. If you think that's all, she's also working on a big project. Stay tuned because you'll soon see her on HGTV's House Hunters. She also owns 4 networking groups in Oradell, Teaneck, Westwood, and Allendale, New Jersey. The UTA franchise? Is that what it's called?
UTA Hurricane franchise, yep.
Awesome. So, Heather, we want to welcome you to the Bearded Banker podcast. How are you doing today?
Great. Happy to be here, Danny. I know we've done deals together and I loved working with you. Hope to do a lot
Thank you.
more.
Likewise. For sure. So I know you don't have too much time because you're busy and you got a
I
lot
got to
going
run
on
to an
with
open
clients.
house.
Yes, which
It's an
is
investment it's a 3-family that I selling in Newark, and which I just sold another one there. And we have a short
awesome.
window of 1 hour to get everyone in because we're dealing with tenants. You know how that goes. So
I get it.
here I am with you this morning, and I'm so happy to be here. Let's get it
No,
done.
I appreciate it. Yeah, and before we jump in, I want to thank you because a couple people reached out right away and said they wanted to be a guest, and I sent them the steps. But you were very proactive in getting me all that information for that introduction, and
That's how I roll.
really took advantage of it and jumped on it. So I appreciate it. So
Well,
let's start
I
with.
just want to say very quickly, and not to cut you off, but
Mhm.
what you just hit it right on the nose. That's probably where the hurricane, one of the reasons I have the name is I'm very, very proactive, I can't let anything sit. So I'm very good with
You got to move.
following up. The minute I get an opportunity, it falls into my lap, I jump on it immediately.
I
So
love
that
it.
must help in helping me get to where I am today, I would think. So anyway, go
Absolutely.
ahead. Didn't mean to cut you off.
That nickname for sure.
Yes.
So how does someone like you who was at the top of their corporate game in sales and marketing jump into real estate? How did that transition happen?
Oh, yeah. Great question. So yeah, I was VP of sales for over 20 years at Go Gorilla Media, which you explained, and it was amazing. And I worked in the city, but I was also an independent contractor, so I was able to also work from home on Fridays. Eventually, getting an office here. But I'll tell you, I was doing that, and 6 years ago, I said, "Let me get my real estate license,"
Mm-hmm.
because always, even when I was doing Go Gorilla, as you mentioned, I've been involved in so many other things. I'm a Girl Scout leader, won the Hinani Award, stand-up comedy. I also had a side party planning business. I forgot to tell you that one, Heather's Heydays. I've always been very
Wow.
creative. Had a lot of articles written about me. That's the other thing. There's tons of, I've been in press over time and time again, and that's all on my website. So I always had other stuff, even though I had that Go Gorilla. I knew there were other things for me, even though that was my main thing. So 6 years ago, I'm like, how do I not have my real estate license? Like, I'm an amazing salesperson. How do I not have that? And Becky, my broker, do you know Rebecca? We were always friends through, we did business together with my party planning business through different moms groups. I used to say to her, and she was like, Heather, you have too much on your plate. You'll know when it's time for you to get it. When the kids are a little bit older, maybe. So 6 years ago, I got that license and I jumped right in, just like I do everything else, like what you sent me. I jumped right in with the Go Gorilla and getting my license. hanging my license right away with Remax with Rebecca. I knew that's where I wanted to hang it. And I just jumped right in 6 years ago. And at the time, I was doing both Go Gorilla and the real estate, and both were very wonderful. COVID hits, media goes here, real estate goes here. And I'm like, oh, wow. And then the owner of my company, after 20 something years, was like, you know what, Heather, as COVID went on, why don't you just do the real estate? 20 something years of this, you're building a brand. I'm telling you, that's your next step. This guy was Alan Wolin, the owner of Go Gorilla Media, was at my wedding back in 2004. God. So this is how many years I know him. And he was like, loves me. I was his only salesperson left after we were a huge company. It was only me and him. He said, you go and you take everything. And I'm telling you, mark my words, you're going to be huge. It was scary. I did it. And I did it. That's exactly what happened. It went from doing both to let's just take it all. I learned that's going to be my next step. And gosh darn it, it was.
So that's interesting. So the owner of that company was behind you going into real estate, kind of leaving and spreading your wings.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
After 20
Usually
something years, I'm making him a lot and myself a lot of money, He was just like, it's a different time now. And I really think that's the best thing for you.
So you think Rebecca had a lot to do with it too, as far as choosing real estate and not some other lucrative sales type of game, or?
Well, I always toyed with it, and she had a lot to do with the fact of timing. She always said to me, when I was like, I'm going to get it. She's like, it's just not the right time. Like I said, the party planning business on the side along with Go Gorilla, he named, running stuff at the temple, running everything in our town. When the kids were getting a little older, she's like, you'll know when it's time to get that license.
When it's time.
And when you do, come to me. So it kind of like all fell into place. And it wasn't because of COVID that you hear it just happened to be right before. It was God's way.
Oh, yeah, because we were working well before COVID.
Yes,
we were working together.
It was just meant to be that this is where it happens, how it happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I guess that background of the party planning and doing a lot of things, nowadays realtors have to wear many hats, right?
You got that right.
To be successful. So how do you, I guess it comes from your background of wearing many hats to begin with, but how do you balance, the work and everything?
I'll tell you, but it's funny. One of the articles that was written about me too, you could find them all again on my website. One of the things that she said, she used the same words, Heather the Hurricane, balancing many hats. That has been used in a lot of my articles time and time again. So it's funny that you should say that. So it must be true. How do I do it all? It was perfect. Again, perfect timing. The kids were older, switched over to this career. My husband's also very much, we're like people have said about my family that we're a well-oiled machine. I'm telling you, we're like soldiers. My kids too, because they've been in the acting and modeling business since they're very young. My daughter's in the Polar Express right now. So yesterday, that's why when I was trying to connect with you, I was also running into the city. But I said, Dan, we will get this done this evening. And we did. I'm a man of my word, woman of my word, whatever you want to say. So it's a matter of just balancing everything right. I had an event. I just figure everything out. You have to get they say a busy person is more accomplished than a non-busy person. How is that? How can you get more done? Because you figure out things, you get it done. And it's a system.
You're almost forced to make sure that you can fit everything in. So it makes you prioritize.
That's right. When you don't have a lot going on, then it's like, oh, I'll get it done. And it doesn't get done. See?
Right. You almost need that pressure to schedule it, get it done, bang it out, onto the next thing.
That's exactly right. And I've been that way my whole life, and that's how it gets done. That's exactly right.
So, and you still find time to do your content, to do your branding, your marketing on top of everything else.
Very important. As you see, my hair is now, everyone knows I was a blonde for many, many years. And you look at my older pictures, I had my old Hurricane logo. I had long hair. Then last year, this is my newer Hurricane logo, if you could see it. And that's when I cut my hair short and blonde. Now I recently did the dark, and I already have a new headshot that I sent you immediately that weekend.
And right away, what did I say? Oh, the hair.
Yes. And another thing, like for example, I also I try to always keep up with, like you said, social media, staying up with the time. I'm a TikTok star now, by the way. I'm not kidding. Everyone follow me, Heather the Hurricane on TikTok. I have a huge following. I was hired by an agency to be like a person, and that's helping build. I'm talking real estate marketing constantly on lives.
Mm-hmm.
So tune in, guys. And I've been taking clips of that. My marketing people that help me, I'll tell you about them. And we've taken clips of it with my wording, let's say topics that I ended up talking about, like for sale by owner, don't do it, mortgage, owning versus renting. And we're taking clips of those and putting them throughout all my other social media. So I'm on
Mm-hmm.
everything, LinkedIn, TikTok, tip, all of it. And we take those
Everywhere.
clips and put them all around. So it's all part of the whole TikTok experience. But also I have a scan code because you have to stay up with the times. And when you scan that, it brings you to a landing page of where you can.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what do I put on my landing page? Do I put my website? So we have a landing page that brings you to everything. And about staying current, when I acquired all 4 networking groups, we have a logo that had United Tips of America Hurricane franchise with all 4. So whenever something happens that is new for me, we update my material immediately. And I do have some help. I do a lot of my own stuff, but I do have help. I have Pam she's been with me for many years. She's amazing.
Okay.
And so she's in Pennsylvania and we've been online. She's been doing my stuff with me for years, helping me with my stuff. Also my personal, like even my bar mitzvah, for the kids stuff, she helps me with. I'm very
Mm-hmm.
creative. I've had every party, I've had many parties that have been written up in magazines. She helps me. Then I have a guy in Guatemala, Pedro. I'm not kidding. And he's the one that's doing my clips. And then there's an intern at our office that helps me out with some of my promo pieces too. So together we
Wow.
get everything done.
And that was going to be part of my next question. With working, actually doing the deals, right? Negotiating, making sure the deals close, and then prospecting to get new clients and the content
Constantly.
creation. Is there a team? Is there an assistant? So we have Pam and Pedro and
It's a good
people at the
question.
office. So you have a couple people helping you because a lot of
Yes.
times I think new agents or even seasoned agents that are jumping into the social media marketing game are like, how am I supposed to do all this? But you need help if you need to have other people assist.
So it's interesting that you say that. Yes. And the thing is, I work 24/7. That's why, like, you and I were on the phone till late last night. I was like, don't worry,
Hmm.
Dan. You were probably like, she's going to shut off. No, I don't shut off. That's probably like, oh, you're like, okay, she's not, she's going to be there for
If
me.
there's one thing I'm not worried about with you, Heather, it's definitely not shutting off. I'm like, she's gonna be on every time I call her.
Exactly. Thank you. So,
Yes.
and it's interesting that whole team thing. We talk about that a lot in my office too, and Rebecca's not there are some companies that they're all about the team. We're not. And Rebecca very much encourages us to be our own solo agents so that we make our own money. We produce our own brand. People deal with us, not you get me, but it's
Hmm.
difficult to do that, right? And do all the things you said. So we have our few people. Like I said, I built my little bit of marketing team to help me. Also, sometimes we'll team up in the office specifically with specific listings for projects. Kim in my office is Hispanic speaking. So I'll bring her in when I have an Hispanic speaking client and we team up there.
Hmm.
Joel in my office, we went door knocking together. One day we got a listing. We shared that. So I'm happy. Mickey and I in my office, we went door knocking one night. We got some prospects. I'm happy to individually team up with people on projects, but to be a consistent
Hmm.
team, I prefer, and that's kind of like how our philosophy is in our office more. You get the hurricane with your clients. And to do that, we have some systems in place to help us. I figured out my own little way to be able to get my stuff done and be there and be the face and the front runner and everything else for my clients.
And when you're doing those things, when you're outdoor knocking or with other agents, are you capturing content then too? Like, are they helping you out? Do you have someone film for you? Do you set up a tripod and do it yourself? Like, how are you getting it done?
So
Deep
my
breath.
content, I'm always taking pictures and on the fly, you'll
Always.
see pop-up videos of me now, especially like I said, with this whole TikTok thing. It's actually that it fell into my lap is insane. It's exactly what I
Hmm.
need because I need a platform. And this is a very up and coming, the way to go, very with it platform that I feel is really helping me. It's like a dream come true for me. And it's coming all the
Hmm.
same time as the House Hunters and some other awards I'm winning. So it's like very exciting times. And so kind of, it's a mix of, well, then I have my few photographers that I work with. Anthony's great. Sean, I worked with for a lot of years. You'll see some of my content of me like doing little promo videos, that kind of thing. So we do some scheduled stuff. I do some pop-up stuff. And now more than ever, like I said, with this TikTok thing, we're taking clips from that. And that's a lot of my content too. And Pam, we always, whenever I have an open house, I can either go to her. I have another guy working for me too. My son's friend, Steven, he does graphic design. He goes to a special school in high school, like a BOCES type thing. So I have him in the mix too. He's been helping me. So with this whole thing combined, we just have a nice, it helps bring everything together.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think you need help. Even the clips I do, I try to send them out to have them edited sometimes to take that off of my plate, because it's hard to do everything, right?
Yes.
And do it well
And you'll
and
see I have
consistently.
yes, I do have a commercial that I ran a couple of years ago, and I have that consistently playing too. But I got to do a new one because my hair was very long and blonde. But that's a good one if you want to play it ever or whatever when you post this. And that was on
Yeah,
HGTV
we'll
and News
pull it up.
12, and now we still have it running all over the internet.
Hi, it's Heather, the Hurricane here. I'm an award-winning New Jersey realtor with RE/MAX Signature Homes. I'm a top producer in the top 10%. My credentials speak for themselves, but don't take my word for it. Visit my website to read my countless 5-star reviews, links to my social media, and see the many articles featuring me, the Hurricane. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, rent, or invest, the Hurricane is your key to success. For the best darn realtor around, contact me. I'm here 24/7. Heather the Hurricane's here to make your dreams a reality.
Beautiful. Okay, so yeah, you got everything working for you. The Hurricane definitely makes sense. You're nonstop, and even when you're teaming up with people, still having that brand, and still your brand is part of that. You're not losing it by teaming up with anybody. Um, as your solo agent entrepreneur. So without giving away too many secrets, what can you share about from your corporate background with sales and marketing that helps in the entrepreneurship space? Like, what did you learn over those 20 years that you can now apply that some people might not
Everything,
have?
all of it,
Everything.
everything. It's everything. It's everything. It's the reason that, like I said, I jumped right in. I see agents that want to sit there and start analyzing. No, I just got on the phone and I don't even know what the heck I was saying. I just got in there. I try to kind of remember what I learned at school, at real estate school. You have a broker to go to. It's talking to people is gold. Every conversation is gold. That's it. That's why open houses are gold. Door knocking is gold. Every person I meet on the street is gold. Also, I've always been a major networker. Always, always. People come to me just like I got a guy or a gal for anything anyone could ever need. As with the party planning, anyone needed a DJ, a balloon. So that transformed into my networking groups. And Becky always said to me, you are a major networker. You need to be in a networking group. And I said, once I do just real estate and not real estate and go guerrilla, I'm going to do that. And that's exactly what I did. So that whole being a natural networker, along with the marketing and the drive, made it all work together.
And when you started, you mentioned conversations and making the calls and not really knowing, because I started the same way on the phones with like leads from the company, just making calls, not really knowing what I was saying, but
Yeah.
remembering stuff from school and just connecting with people. It's not so
Yeah.
much what you know, because just the fact that you passed the test and you're in the industry, you probably know more than most people you're calling that don't know about real estate or
Well,
mortgages.
it's on
Go ahead.
I learn from every single deal,
Right.
every
Right.
conversation. I get better and better. In the almost 6 years I've been doing this, my old broker, Denise, used to laugh. She was doing this 17 years. I never saw so many situations that you've handled in 6 short years. I never, and I'm doing 17 because I have so many conversations, because I have so many multiple deals with different types of people and dealing with different types of situations. I feel that I've come in 6 years, become very knowledgeable because I've worked with so many different types of situations in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, you're
And we got
experiencing a
through
lot
it
of different
and we
scenarios and
got to
knowing
the
how to
finish
handle it.
and getting to the finish line.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think that's why I always suggest when new agents come into the field or new loan officers to join a team so that they can see more situations, because you get better when you experience more, objections or more appraisal issues or title issues or an oil tank, whatever it is. when I started, I was taking loans for the owners of the company. I said, I want to see as many files as possible so I can learn as much as possible. And it sounds like you did the same thing, where it was like,
Yeah.
I did
But I
so
def-
having so many conversations that I'm learning every time. So the next time it comes up, I know how to handle it.
yes, but for me, I would never have started on a team. That's not for me. I'm a
Okay.
salesperson through and through. You know what I mean?
Well, with
Like I'm
20 years of
experienced
experience, yeah, you probably just jumped
more
right
than
in and
that.
said,
Even.
okay.
Yeah, before Go Guerrilla Media, so that was over 20 years. And before that, I was a publisher of a magazine selling ad space. And before that, I was a sales rep for Samsonite. And then before that, I was a buyer for Century 21 department store. Fashion is my background. I'm always if you look at all my pictures, fashion is king for me. That's
Hmm.
always been part of my brand is I'm always dressed to the nine. And that's part of my marketing as well. Me personally, I'm always very dressed up.
Hmm.
So I think it fits in business, and I'm also edgy. So people like that. But, what was I saying? Oh yeah. Right. The sales, right. So I was
Right.
saying for me personally, everyone's different. Your advice is correct for the right person. For me, that would not be good because I'm an experienced salesperson. So I just jumped right in from selling. It was luggage, then ad sales in the luggage magazine, Go Guerrilla Media for over 20 something years to houses.
And that's a great point, because I do, over the years, dealing with other salespeople from different industries. It's like once you learn sales, you can just apply it to
Yes.
whatever the new thing is, because it's really about the process of, building that trust and getting someone to know you and like you and understand you in marketing and putting yourself out there. And then sales is just, it doesn't really matter what you're selling per se. If you enjoy it, it makes it even better and you love it, you have a passion for it, but sales is sales. So you have a great point there that you can just kind of jump in and say, okay, it's real estate now. Let's go,
And you
and
got to
kind
learn,
of take
right?
that over.
You learn
Yeah.
doing it. Yep.
So you mentioned the networking groups. I definitely want to talk about those. I've been invited to a lot of different networking groups. Been to a lot of different events. How do you come to own them and join so many? And what do you think is the biggest benefit of these networking groups? Because it's a big commitment. When you join a networking group or a different team or whatever it is, you have to dedicate time to it. You have to be
Yes.
involved. How do you do it
Doesn't work otherwise.
and continue with everything else?
So I'll tell you how it came about. Like I said, we always knew that was my path, just didn't know the exact way to execute it. So I was invited to a tip a long time ago. Again, that was before I was doing just real estate. I always had in my mind, I knew those people. So I knew when Go Gorilla stopped, I called the Latip head guy and I'm like, all right, I'm ready. I started Fair Lawn Latip. I was president. We chartered, which means we ended up with 16 members, which was really great. And it was a great experience. I was a president for a year. And after a year, it came to a point where it was like, that was Latip. They meet once a week, Tuesday mornings at like 7 a.m. every week. And it's very
Wow.
corporate, a little different
Hmm.
style than what my whole hurricane is, but it's okay. It was great. It was great, especially for me to get my feet into the networking family, genre, whatever.
Hmm.
After a year, I realized it wasn't the right place where I was going to end up, but it was a very good starting point. So UTA, United Tips of America, they found me, so together, is a organization that was created by this guy, Paul, and he has over 20 chapters here in New Jersey, where the tip is more of like an international thing. This is something that was started by an individual a couple years ago and has grown very rapidly here in New Jersey. And I thought it was a really cool thing. We met on the spot. He hired me to start up the Mawa chapter, which is now Allendale, as the realtor seat. And that went great. We meet for lunch once every 2 weeks. So it's a little bit different than the breakfast every week. It's very unique. We do icebreaker games. We have a speaker. We do lots of really fun things, theme songs. It's very different and unique. Education round.
Hmm.
I find it to be much more engaging and different. The tip BNI, these are all great. I'm not going to put it down. And for me personally, this was a better fit. So just like everything else I do, that group took off. Paul was like, what the hell? I never saw anything like this. Then he's like, you got to start another one, Hurricane. I never saw anything like this. So I started Westwood. Hurricane, I never saw anything like this. Why don't you take it? I never had anyone be a franchise owner. I want to be. So I got the opportunity to be the franchise owner of those 2, and I'm the realtor in those 2. I then grew to 2 more as the franchise owner, but I will not be the realtor in those 2 because it's very important that these groups work and that my leads, I get leads and I'm able to give leads. I could feed 2 groups. 2 groups could feed me. I cannot start worrying about feeding 4. That's too much. But the other 2 are more going to be just part of my franchise. I have a nice gal in one of my, Lori in my TNET group, and Oradell. I'm searching if anyone's out there that thinks they want to be part of a networking group. I'm going to hire another realtor to be in the Oradell one. So the 2 that I get my business from are Westwood and Allendale. And every week I'm preparing. So, but it does help that every Thursdays is Allendale, Tuesdays is Westwood. That's how I'm able to do it because it's once a week, but 2 different groups.
Right.
So that helps me. And they have been, I can't even tell you, game changer. I've gotten so many deals. I've given so many deals. Game changer. It's exactly what I've always wanted. It fits me, suits me, and they're my very own. And I can put my own little hurricane spin on them.
Hurricane spin. I like that. So, and they're different the way they're set up than most just networking groups of a bunch of realtors, a bunch of lenders, right? It's very specific as how many people from each industry can be. Because I had a call. I tried to get into one.
Yeah.
There was already a lender there, so
Mortgage
I'm on the
people,
list.
It's very,
But the
so
way you do it is different.
it depends. If you're thinking of like a networking group that's just for realtors, yes. But LATIP, BNI, UTA, we all follow the same structure in the fact there's one realtor seat, there's one mortgage seat, there's one insurance seat. That way, we're sharing business. If we had several realtors and several mortgage guys in one group, what's the point? The
Right.
point is,
It wouldn't work.
right. There's a
Which is why I
to the
always,
sauce.
when I would go to, Triple Play or these other networking events in the industry, I'd be surrounded by a bunch of lenders. And I started to think to myself,
Is it worth
I
your
want to
time?
be in places, right? I want to be in places where there's not lenders, different groups, a car club, a different, just something that's where I stand out as the only lender. That's
Yeah,
why
I could help
I
you with
think
that,
it makes
Danny.
a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And I will take you up on that. But it makes a lot of sense to get into different arenas as the realtor, or as the lender. And I like that your networking group, that they have that structure to it because it's important. Otherwise, like you said, we can't all be, the one getting the leads. Otherwise, they're not going to convert for the person that's the
Exactly.
one.
And like, that's interesting. They said that I've done so many different, I've tried so many different things over the years. This year every year it's just something different. Like I said, I did a commercial. I'm looking at doing possibly a bus stop where I have lots of listings, always strategically thinking about it. But I did Oradell Day. I've done the race here in town. I didn't do it this year. I've done a car show in River Edge. I was only realtor. You should do that. As the only lender. We could do stuff like that together.
For sure.
I did a wedding show. Again, I didn't do it again this year, but you got to try things. So people that were getting married are looking to buy a home, right? I can't believe how many people I met already bought their home first, then got married. People are doing it. It looks like people are doing it backwards so you see everything nowadays. So, but anyway, talk about standing out. Those are some ideas.
I like those ideas a lot. And, building this list and all these things you're a part of, do you have like a huge database that you're calling every day? Do you have someone calling these leads or following up these leads for you? Are you handling most of the marketing, or you're doing it all?
I can never figure out I'm still trying to figure out the right, as a salesperson, I used to love, you're going to crack up. There's this program that used called ACT. Do you remember it?
I've heard of it. Yeah, I never used it.
Yeah, because it's prehistoric. It's the only program I ever really liked as a sales tool. I have other ones. Remax is great. They provide us with a lot of things, and they have classes on. Where do you find the time to do everything? But they do. You could get into workshops to help us with that stuff. We have different things that we have to help us, but I probably don't use it as best as I should. I have my own little crazy system. I have a spreadsheet that has every single person I've ever done a deal with ever. Starting from day one, I have every agent I've ever done a deal with on that list. And every single deal I do, we send a thank you card fully branded with like a Starbucks card or Home Depot. Same to the agent. The agent that I did the deal with gets a thank you card with the Starbucks card as well. So it's not just appreciation.
I love that.
Thanks. on the customer side. It is also on the agent side, which is so important. I'm building those relationships too.
Definitely, and showing that appreciation is huge. I think that's a nice touch that people don't really do anymore, right? Like they kind of forget that
I'm the
stuff.
only
Um,
when I do it, people are always in shock. It could be a $1,200 rental. It could be $1 million house. They get the same
and
thank you.
I think it's definitely a great touch, and um, having you have some system, right? I think it's important that people have a system, whether it's a spreadsheet, a pen and a paper, a CRM system, something that works for them, like you said, in your crazy hurricane world that fits into it. Um, because you have to keep yourself accountable and just make sure you're doing the things to bring in the business, right? I had a team meeting earlier this morning before our call at 10. And a lot of times with the newer loan officers and people just in this market, because it's tough, it's like, where do I get leads from? Are you kind of using your whole database from 20, 30 years of sales, or is it just your real estate people? Are you reaching out to everybody and kind of saying, hey, what's your situation? Are you looking for anything? If I find an investment property that's a great deal, would you be interested? How are you kind of drumming up the business in this market, besides the content and the marketing that you do?
Yeah, that's a big part of it. But we used to do big email blasts, and that just got too crazy. We stopped doing that. Like I said, I've been more not consistent so much as trying different things. I always try something new. But yes, a lot of it is referral business. Especially this time of year, we're just putting our holiday cards together.
Hmm.
That always reminds me to call every single person on my list that's ever done business with.
Right.
But initially we did send out, and I did take my whole database from everywhere ever when I initially started real estate. And now it's constantly, like you said, like now I'm going to go back to that list because it's holiday time. Um,
Hmm.
there are referrals that come from all, that I have my repeat clients time and time again. Um, and then there's always new stuff. Like I said, I'm always door knocking, always prospecting, always. So it's a balance. But I
Yeah, I
do,
think the trying new things is very important because a lot of people don't want to, they're a little intimidated to do something new. But I know over the years that I've done my own marketing, I've tried whatever is new, I'll try it, see if I can fit it in, and then just kind of compounds. Now
yeah,
it's not just videos on social media, it's a podcast and it's a brand and it's a logo and it's a name
yeah,
and it's a website. It just kind of starts to add up and you find
yes,
what works and then what doesn't. And every year, every month, you're trying something. Like I want to do, and maybe we could do this together, kind of like a bearded banker happy hour or brunch, but with
yeah,
local like cafes that I know personally, I know the owners of, and we can collab on that and say, we're going to have Heather the Hurricane there, and your network and my network can come together for past clients, new clients, or tell close
yeah.
clients, hey, bring a friend, someone that's renting, someone that
Looking
just
to
got
own.
married,
Let's do
and
it. I've
something
done
like
things.
that.
I did a client appreciation. Well, like last night, I filmed at one of my places that I love, and I do a lot of events there,
Hmm.
Prestos. And I did a client appreciation thing there where I had inspector and lender, and we gave out giveaways and bring a friend if that's looking to buy, rent, sell, whatever, too. So we can do.
Hmm.
I love that. Let's do it.
Yeah, we'll look into that. I want to start doing them maybe like once a month or at least once a quarter, and kind
Let's
of
do
bounce
it.
around to
And
different
I also
places.
have. I'm in. Also, I've gone to things like I just stopped by a senior center one day, and I went in there and I organized a breakfast, and we talked about estate planning. And so now those guys, they love to be. Hopefully, they'll call me when they're ready to sell.
I'm sure.
So
Yeah. Awesome. So I know you have to run because you have
yes.
business to do.
Well,
I
what
do
time
want to
is it? Oh,
touch
good,
on.
good timing.
No, we got a little time. We got a little time. I do want to talk about HGTV because that's a huge brand, a huge name. So, what can you tell us about that? I mean, obviously, when HGTV comes to mind, everyone thinks of like, you know, love it or list it or flip this house, and like the budgets where people say, oh, my husband's a stay-at-home dad, and I make colored rubber bands, and my budget is 1.3 million, and people are like, how are these people doing this on HGTV or flipping these houses? What insights do you have? How did you get to HGTV? How does it go with shooting? Like, what can you tell us about that?
So it's so interesting because, like, I feel like this was all, like you said, a build up. Everything else that I've done, and so but even I did a commercial, like I said, that was aired on HGTV and News 12. I still have that running. But this came because just that, like I met a gal, she's like a part-time realtor that remembered me from a showing or something. She's like, I just always remembered your personality, the way you handle your clients. I was so impressed. And I have a friend that's a producer on House Hunters. And I told her, you must get the hurricane on the show. They met me, they fell in love with me immediately. And we figured out a client that it made sense for, this 3-family in Newark that we recently
So
put them
they
in.
asked you like, what kind of, do you have a client that you think this could work for,
Yep.
kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
And it all after all the interviewing process, which
Mm-hmm.
grew, it all worked out. So we just got the green light the other day. And I do think that once people see my personality and we're going to promote the crap out of this, maybe it could
Mm-hmm.
lead to the next thing. I mean, I know Ryan Serfant, you know him, $1 million listing in New
Mm-hmm.
York. I've done deals with him with my marketing, and we stay in touch. And we're all going to be at an event together. We're both being honored for Bergen County Real Producers have both did articles on us. And so who knows, maybe I'm meeting him right now when this is all happening with the TikTok, with my brand getting where it is. It kind of seems like it's all meant
It's
to be
just the one
happening right
step
now.
after the other, and you never know where something's going to lead. And
Yeah.
you put some good energy out there, and look, now like it's just growing in 6 short years in real
Right.
estate alone. Obviously, you have a lot of sales experience, but
Correct.
6 years in real estate with a pandemic is really like 3 years, and you're killing it. So
Yes.
that's
Exactly.
awesome. Awesome. So, is there anything else you want to add in? Where can people find you
Sure.
before we wrap up? Anything that we
Yeah.
missed that you want to discuss?
I think I think this was great. You can see my little comedy thing back there. That was my long hair. I do some stand-up
I
comedy
do.
over the years, and I've hosted some events also with other lenders where we had real estate comedy shows where I was the MC. I've done a few of those. Um,
So that definitely helps with your talking to people and being on the phones, and you're comfortable like on a camera,
I
on a
have an acting
stage.
background, sales. I'm on a speak team. I've been hired to speak at a lot of events. Over the summer, I spoke to 30 children at a camp that like a leadership about marketing of successful brands and how to build it and all that good stuff. I've spoken at
Wow.
colleges. So I've been hired to do a lot of this stuff. And that's also something I'm planning on building with everything else. Hopefully will fall into place. This all just will fall into place. So we're on a speak team with UTA also that we get hired for different events. And my background would be marketing, real estate, some acting and modeling too. I have some knowledge of that with doing that with my kids for so many years. So that's
So
that.
obviously
Mhm.
for you, that's benefited you. Do you think someone in the industry that's maybe not as outgoing can be successful, or do you think you really need to like put yourself out there and have a certain personality?
You really have to put yourself out there, it's not, but there are people that sell in a much different way than me that I respect so much, and they do
Different
it and it
styles.
works. So
Yeah.
does this work for me? Did this help me get big in a very short amount of time? Yes. But do I see others that have a different style and approach? And I'm just like, wow, that works too. Yes. But it's gotta be something. You can't just it's hard. It's hard.
People need to know who you are. People need to know
It's
what you do,
hard.
right? You got to put yourself out there.
You got to. And you got to work hard. I think it's so funny how many real people just like, I'm going to get my license. It's going to be, no, it's hard. And especially now everyone thinks they can do this. No, no.
Yeah.
And a side thing, look, I can't tell people what to do, but I don't think this is a side job. I don't. I
I
think this
agree
is a
with that for sure.
full-time job. And I would want to hire someone that does this all the time.
Yeah.
But
I tell
I don't want
people,
to put anyone down that's doing it, I just want to support everyone. But personally, for us full-time realtors, it's challenging because there's certain things we need, to make people realize this is what we do all the time, 24/7.
well, it's a lot. You're not just, posting content, doing dances on TikTok as a realtor. You actually have to do deals. You have to deal with negotiations. You're wearing a lot of different hats, like we spoke about. You're an appraiser, an inspector. You're a therapist for some people, right? You're dealing with
Yes.
these clients'
A
emotions.
matchmaker.
Oh yeah, you have a matchmaker under your belt. That's funny. My wife is a
Every,
matchmaker. She always trying to pair people
yeah.
up, so you
I'm
guys
like,
will
I
get
got to get you a
along.
house. I got to get you a woman. I always say
Yeah,
it's,
let's get it all together.
you deal so that, but you can find me on everything. I have a website, www.heatherthehurricane.com, everywhere, and everything is on it.
Yep,
But
we're
I'm
gonna
also
post
on,
all your links too. Make sure people can follow
yeah,
you.
TikTok,
Um,
LinkedIn, Twitter, which is now X, Facebook, business Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn, homes.com, Zillow, HomeSnap. I'm verified on Google.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
I hope the audience hears this, because this is what you need to do to be successful, especially in real estate, but in sales in general. You have to put yourself out there. You have to be everywhere. People have to be able to find you.
And you know what's cool too? I've been I feel like LinkedIn's not as saturated when I post there. I have over 6,000 followers on LinkedIn. But I think that also started with my market. It helped build people that follow me over the years. And now see I transitioned to real estate. So there's,
Awesome.
not only, it's not as saturated. So that's another really good place to get out there.
To tap into.
And it's a
great
business
advice.
site.
Right. You're going to get different types of engagement, probably people more, young professionals, maybe better qualified, or, who knows, an easier deal, right, for us on our end. We'll do them all, but, you never know sometimes on that LinkedIn.
My Pedro, my guy in Guatemala, he'll take some of our promo pieces and he'll post them. We belong to like 70 different Facebook pages.
Wow.
Sometimes we get kicked
Facebook
out, sometimes
pages,
we don't.
Facebook
But
groups,
so what?
right? Yeah.
Half of them leave us up there.
I like that. That's a good tip too. Okay, so just one last thing. You did mention that you are looking for another realtor in your Oradell chapter. If anyone wants to jump on that, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
So someone that could be a good fit, reach out to me. I'd love to get you in there. Yep.
Awesome. All right. So Heather, I don't know if you've heard the other podcast yet, but we do have a little tradition with our outro here. Do you know who 2 Chainz is? 2 Chainz, the rapper?
I love rap. Probably if I heard the song, I would know.
So 2 Chainz has a song called...
Biggie. I know the old,
The older guys. He has a song called Mortgage Free. And I wanted to use this song as like my theme song, but I don't want any copyright issues. So I just say the hook at the end of every podcast. He says, the goal in life is to be mortgage free, control your emotions, have integrity. If you want to use my likeness, I need equity. And if you're really trying to win, you need to bet with me.
I love it.
And Heather the Hurricane.
Let's do it.
So
I love it.
Let's do it. We will touch base again on those networking things for sure.
Oh,
I'll
and I want
post
to tell
all
you
your links. So
speaking of sayings, I'll tell you, I have a few. One is I have a red notebook that says wake up and work hard. And then I have another one.
Love that.
I have another one. Success does not come from what you do sometimes. It's what you do all the time. So it's about consistency. Right?
Consistency is always the key.
We're going to door knock once and then that's it. And it's the things you do every day that is going to bring you business. You can't just sometimes do real estate and then think it's going to no, you have to do steps every day to be able to get to that finish line.
I think that's a great note to end on. Yeah.
Okay.
People stay consistent. All right, Heather. Okay. Well, you have a great day. Go kill your meetings, your open houses, and let me know if anyone needs a pre-approval, and we'll definitely talk soon.
Yeah, we got to get Maria back on the horn. I spoke to her. She said, I'll be ready
we will,
soon.
for sure. Yeah.
Awesome.
We'll get her going.
Thanks, Danny. Have a good day.
Thanks, Heather. You too.
Okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye.